Hello, a very good evening to you, and you're welcome to the only show that brings you all the happenings from the diplomatic community in Ghana and around the world. My name is Harriet Nartey, and this is Diplomatic Affairs. We are coming to you live from the studios of Pan-African Television right here at Abilinkpe in Accra, Ghana, West Africa. Well, today we are talking about the EU and the Republic of Ghana, relations between these two parties. And I have the Honorable, the Ambassador of the EU delegation, who will be joining me shortly. Now, Ghana has cemented a mutually beneficial and deeply satisfying relationship with the European Union in the field of diplomacy. The fruitful relations has boosted investor confidence in Ghana's economy, strengthened her embryonic democracy, and deepened good governance. On today's episode of Diplomatic Affairs, I will engage the European Union Ambassador to Ghana for his take on this thought-provoking and insightful topic and the attributes he comes on board with for the next 4 years. Well, I need you to be part of the show. We are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, so keep your messages coming. I'll read all your messages right here, and I need you to also be part of today's discussion. I will take a break. When I come back, we begin our conversation. Please stay.
Polygamy does not know adultery. So you should.
Polygamy knows. I disagree.
Wait a minute.
Polygamy
Wait a minute.
If you are not 25, you have no business driving a commercial vehicle.
The only person who can take your driver's license and retain it must be a police officer of the rank of inspector and above.
Using office hours to engage in social media is a ground for you to be what? Dismissed.
When you are raped, you can justifiably walk into any government hospital or a licensed medical facility for an abortion.
A will takes effect only after the person is dead.
Pure cocaine is not addictive. What is addictive is when it's adulterated.
Join the Law Express panel this and every week as we delve into all these relevant topics.
Law Express, Mondays at 7:15 p.m. and a repeat on Thursdays at 5:45 p.m.
Hello, what are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Late Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those social, economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. And Personality Profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma, but still the only TV show with a hat. The Progressive Woman's Show is that space for frank, open, honest, provocative, perhaps even revolutionary conversations about today's woman.
If you go to the banking sector, there are people there who want to sleep with you before they give you a job. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a civil servant, there is someone who will say, oh, I can get it for you easily. All you have to do is drop your pen.
It was something that was demanded of me. My editor, my news editor in the newsroom, thought if I don't pull down my skirt, I was not going to be put on air.
I am yet to come into contact with anybody asking me to sleep with him to go on TV. I will not sleep with any man for a position. I will sleep with a man I want to sleep with for the pleasure of it.
When governments come to power and they say that the women are not showing dynamism and the women, for me all that, and forgive my Latin, this time of the day, all that is bullshit.
I practice public speaking in church. Okay. I practice service in church. I practice leadership in church. So those are things that's why the church is important in our lives.
And that's how you do it. It's not buy Range Rover and do something.
And do what? Takes me right
in church.
When you mention Jesus, you don't have to say Jesus.
But they say it's a man's world out there, isn't it? Unfortunately, I don't know why, because we seem to be doing all the work. They are the head and we are the neck. Excuse me, can you be a head without a neck?
No, please. No, please.
Yeah.
Well, hey, ladies, let's continue to hold up the sky.
Hello, welcome back. My name is Harriet Nartey, and this is the only show, like I said early on, that brings you all the documentations from the diplomatic community. If you want to know what is happening, all the updates, we are your go-to place for all the updates from the diplomatic community, not just in Ghana, but also around the globe. So you can catch all that is happening right here on this platform. And today, I'm very much excited because I have been working so hard to get this interview take place. And here we are today. There is so much that we are going to be talking about. It's all about the EU and the Republic of Ghana. We really want to know what the EU does here in the country, and if we are still working with the old timetable, because we have a new head. So we are assuming that he also has a new timetable that he would like to work with, you know. So I have him here, and he will be telling us all that we need to know when it comes to the operations of the European Union right here in Ghana. My guest is Ambassador Ichad Ramiandrasu Rosali. He is the head of the EU delegation to Ghana. Hello. It's good to see you.
How are you, Harriet?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
You look lovely in that kaftan. Where did you get it from?
Really?
Yes.
I got it from a very famous Ghanaian, I don't know, can I drop names?
Oh, you can drop names.
Yes, his name is Yusuf Mahama. He's pretty well known, and I have to say I'm pretty proud of what he did.
Wow, this is really nice on you. And do you have the cufflinks? Yay, matched with the EU cufflinks. It's so outstanding. You look great. We can see that. Very close up. We can see that.
This is
where
great
combination.
This is where Europe meets with Ghana.
Ghana. Awesome. Great partnership. All right. Now, before we talk about the EU and Ghana relations, I'd like my guests, you know, they have to really know who you are, and my viewers have to know who you really, really are. The next time they see you outside, you know, they can always get through to you. So I have something that I'd like to share with my guests or my viewers. Yes, they are my guests, you know, because they are watching us from afar, so they are part of the show. It's a video clip. I have this short video clip that I'd like to introduce on the show. If it's ready, can we just play it and then we'll come back and begin our conversation. I see you boxing. Is that how you...
I was concerned at some point when you were saying there is a movie or something about me.
You were wondering what that was. Well, here we are. We have you on our screens, and it seems like this is what you do to stay fit.
Yeah, this is what I do all the week.
All the week?
No. This is. It looks like in slow motion, doesn't it? No,
yes.
Because you know, age is catching up.
Okay. Age is catching up with who? With you?
With me. No, jokes aside, I'm practicing box. I'm trying to do once or twice a week in order to stay fit, because beyond the fact that it's important to stay fit and healthy, I think it's important to keep me functioning in my job as well. So don't give the impression to the viewers or my bosses that I'm just staying in Ghana.
But you look like a pro. You look like a pro
really,
in there.
It looks like it's slow motion, you know. Anyway.
All right, so great. That was the EU head in action. According to him, that's what he does. How many times in a week do you do this? Once a week, twice a week?
I try to do twice a week. And I would like to thank and mention my trainer, Bruce Torado. He's a Ghanaian boxer. He was fighting. He's training already several ambassadors. So if you're interested, he's really...
If I'm interested? All right, I'll try. Let's see how it goes. But now that let's talk about, it's good to know that this is what you do to stay fit. Let's talk about you as a person and your career path, journey so far. Who is Irshad Ramiandrasu Razali?
So my name is Irshad, as you said. Don't excellency me, because this is not this is not my identity. It's just coming with the job and the function. I was born in Madagascar, actually, and I grew up there. I studied there in the University of Madagascar, Antananarivo. I studied laws there. And then when I was 21, I left Madagascar to perform other studies in France on international relations. And then eventually I succeeded in joining the French diplomatic service. This is quite a difficult and competitive examination. And I joined them 20 years ago. Actually.
I believe that's not to discourage me from joining the foreign service.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Just to tell you that you have everything at hand to succeed.
Right.
So that's pretty much it. I'm a French career diplomat of Malagasy origin, and I'm proudly representing the European Union here in Ghana.
Wow, that's very interesting. Before Ghana, which other countries' assignments?
I've been assigned, my first abroad assignment after Paris was Pretoria, South Africa, actually where my daughter was born. So this country is still very, very close to our heart. And then I was assigned to Brussels, where actually I met and I interned into the European bubble, because EU tends to discount there. I joined the European Union career, and then I was not posted, but I was very, very close with Central African Republic. It was almost a posting there because I was there very often. And after that, just my previous assignment, I was in charge of the relation between European Union and the West African countries, 16 of them.
16 of them?
Yes, which acquainted me quite well with Ghana. And Ghana, I have to tell, was my choice, my first choice. And I'm very happy and privileged that I've been trusted enough to be appointed in Accra.
We are happy to have you in Ghana. I owe it a responsibility to let the public know who is new in the diplomatic community and who is leaving when they are done with their end of service or duty or tenure. So we thought it would be great to have you on the show so we could introduce you to the general public and they can also get to know you. So viewers, the EU ambassador to Ghana, and of course, I'm sure you'll be meeting quite a lot of us already in your line of duty. Now, let's talk about the EU's operations. We had the opportunity to interview your predecessor, Diana Akwanshia, and twice. Yeah. Twice.
We have to do better.
I'm throwing the challenge to you. So she tells me she'll be watching this interview, actually, so I believe she's watching. But she was so hardworking and very passionate about her assignments here in Ghana. I'm sure that she went out of her way to even do things that were not assigned, as part of her assignments, in the country. And I have already seen how you are jumping from one place to the other. You are always on the move, trying to deepen bilateral relations between these two parties. What do you hope to achieve?
Relations between the European Union and Ghana are very democratic and trustworthy partner, which stand out in West Africa and in the continent, actually. Mm-hmm. So my mandate is to reinforce and bring the relationship to another level even, and I think we have everything at play in order to do that. Because and actually he set, and we agreed together with a clear roadmap.
Right.
Okay, he raised issues related to security, to trade, to vaccination, and here we are working on that basis. And once again, I want to confirm and reaffirm the fact that our partnership is broad. It's all-encompassing. This is not a development cooperation-based partnership. Right. It's not a trade-based partnership. It's not, aid-based partnership. It's political, diplomatical, security. Part of it is development cooperation. Part of it is trade. Part of it is even health, vaccines. And to go out of my way, my ambition is to give a specific flavor to that relation in trying to boost what we can do together on the cultural arena. So our relation is solid, it's all-encompassing, and this is what I will try to bring on the table on top of what we plan to do, I would say, as an official and institutional partnership, is to use culture in order to create even closer bonds between the Ghanaian public, Ghanaian citizens with their European friends.
What does the EU benefit from this collaboration?
Culture is the best way to create and to touch the hearts and minds.
And soul of the people.
And soul, yes, soul of the people. And to mention that before going deeper in our bilateral relations, I strongly believe that culture is the main driver of, a sense of being a nation. For Europe, culture as well is a driver of building the European identity. We share things, we are different, but we share things. I think the same applies to Ghanaian and other African countries as well. You share things even though you are different. Ghana is different from Togo, from Malawi, from Madagascar, my home country, but there are things that you are sharing. And culture is one of the driver, one of the way to reach this sense of, common.
All right. Now, let's move away from that and discuss, there was the 6th European Union African Union, which took place in Brussels on the 17th and 18th of February this year. What was it about, apart from integration? What was it about?
It was just yesterday, so it's very, very new, very, very fresh.
So it ended yesterday?
It ended yesterday. It was yesterday and the day before yesterday. And actually, the side events were unfolding the whole week. First of all, I have to mention, as you know, that the relations between Europe and Africa are ancient and deep, but the institutional and political relation knew, I would say, an increase and a change of dimension in the early 2000s during the summit in Lisbon, Portugal. And from there, the ambition was to build even deeper relations in the political and strategic aspect. And beyond that, now this 6th AU-EU summit, African Union, European Union summit, was to create this sense that we are two unions, but with one vision. So, African Union, European Union, two different unions, but one shared vision, because we are going together in the same direction for the future. So, this being said, what have been reinforced in terms of partnerships. So basically, we have this ancient partnership built on 5 pillars when it comes to job and growth stimulation, when it comes to sustainability, infrastructure, so on and so forth, governance and security. And what has moved forward during this specific summit is we agreed on a roadmap and actionables. The main important outcome of the summit was to put forward a package of 150 billion euros in terms of investment in Africa between now and 2030, which is across the corner, around the corner, which will be supporting the growth and job creation, firstly. Secondly, the issue of creating opportunities for the youth in order to enter into the job market is one of the common traits, one of the common challenges in Africa and I would say, in Europe as well. So this is something we share. This builds this common vision. The second real outcome is the reinforcement of what we want to do together with the African continent when it comes to health, specifically, not limited to, but specifically when it comes to vaccination, vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine production. And I want to talk about that because there is something specific for Ghana around that. Other pillars are agriculture, sustainable development linked to agribusiness, because there is a huge potential there to move forward in terms of production, quality, sustainability, job creation. There again, private sector, we want to create the conditions to enhance and increase the investment, international investment, European investment on the African soil. Peace, security and governance was a key issue as well, because not only due to the recent development in West Africa, but in other regions, in Southern Africa, in the Horn of Africa as well. This is an issue of common interest. Common interest because it's not only or mainly in the interest of the European Union to see those crises solved. It's in the prime interest of those regions, West Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, to create the condition to resolve those crises for the benefit of the citizen, to create the condition for a better development, job creation, so on and so forth. Because if the crises are not solved, this is
there can't be development.
It's an hindrance. It's an hindrance to the normal path towards development. So those are the pillars, I would say, on which we have built this summit. Of course, climate change, sustainability. Climate change, a very important raison d'être of this dialogue between European Union and Africa, because when we agree together between Europe and Africa, we account almost for half of the seats in the UN General Assembly, and this is a key building block in order, to put forward and push forward the common agenda when it comes to climate change. Because there again, climate change is real, it's occurring, and it's already affecting the most vulnerable. And the most vulnerable are the most vulnerable countries and the most vulnerable populations in those countries.
I'm happy you brought up the issue of climate change, because most people still think it's a hoax. How do we get the message to the bottom, to the people, so we can begin to practice, like safe ways of taking care of our own environments, and then whilst the conversation is at the top or at the higher level between governments and all of that, what do you think we can do? Because my worry is that I often see people practicing open burning of refuse, and that's one of the things that I worry about in my country. And I think that we should have some sanctions, you know, to be able to apprehend people who, you know, told this tangent or trajectory, because at the end of the day, we are all talking about climate change and people still think that it's a hoax. It doesn't exist. How can we get the message to the people down?
But first of all, you have to abide by the facts. So facts is the last 7 years, no, the last 8 years, were the 7 most, you know, the years with the highest temperature in world history, okay, recent history. So these are facts. And then another thing which is very difficult to communicate is if climate changes and raises, temperature raises by just 1, 2, or even 3 degrees, it's not the, you know, this is the average temperature everywhere, but it means +5, +10, +15 degrees in some countries, in some places, which makes it impossible to grow, harvest, and, you know, which will kill agriculture. So no agriculture, no food, you know, what is looming down the line. So these are the facts. But when it comes to the solutions, fortunately, there are solutions, but solutions are not easy. First of all, climate change begins with you and me. So this is about our personal behavior, but this is not enough because, you know, I'm drinking this water. This water is bottled in plastic. It's not my choice.
Right.
My only choice is not to dump that into the sea because Accra is by the seaside, okay? But we have to work all together, normal citizens, industries, public leadership, private investment, in order to create solutions. So if we are using plastic, there should be solutions in order to reuse it or recycle it, or better, to use a glass bottle. This is what we have been doing. When I was a kid, when you were a kid, we were using glass bottle. It's just with the innovation, the companies came with plastic bottles because it was more convenient, but at that time, the general knowledge and even, you know, public policy were not really aware of the consequences of plastic pollution. Just to mention one aspect, other aspects are linked to the deforestation, linked as well to the salinity of the ocean, because actually the lung of the earth is not only the forest, but these are the oceans. So it's about awareness, it's our behavior, but it's about as well developing solutions that work for everyone. Of course, this is sad to see people burning their dump. This is sad because this is not the thing to do, but if they don't have any alternatives, this is what they have to do. So part of our dialogue with partner countries inside Europe as well is to create the solutions, alternative solutions, not to be obliged to do that. And then you create the incentives. You can, as you said, in order you can create the legal framework which put an halt to this type of behavior. But there again, I'm part of the people who believe that it's of no use to shame someone to do something not really conducive to protection of environment.
We need
if there is no
draconian measures.
We need draconian measures and we need efficient solutions.
Right.
And this is what the European Union is coming on the table with in the dialogue with, in the partnership with Ghana, meaning that part of our priority engagement for the years to come is green growth and jobs. First of all. Secondly, we want to build smart and sustainable cities. Why is that so? Because when you build a city, if you get it right from the beginning in terms of, you know, transportation, urbanization, access to energy, water treatment, so on and so forth, you get the benefit for the next decades, if not centuries. On the contrary, if you build a city with not so well designed aspect in terms of transportation, so on and so forth, you live with that city because it's fact of life for the next decades and centuries, with all these, you know, consequences in terms of carbon emission, in terms of waste production, so on and so forth, and lack of recycling. So
all right.
This is a few elements of our...
Right. We will be delving deeper into the PowerPoints that are put together to help us understand really what the partnership is all about, the roadmap that both of you have come up with, you know, to guide you through your tenure in the country. You're still watching Diplomatic Affairs with me, Harriet Nartey. My guest is the EU Ambassador to Ghana, Ichad Ramiandrasu Razali. I'll take a break. When I come back, we are continuing with our conversation.
The Progressive Woman's Show is that space for frank, open, honest, provocative, perhaps even revolutionary conversations about today's woman.
If you go to the banking sector, there are people there who want to sleep with you before they give you a job. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a civil servant, there is someone who will say, oh, I can get it for you easily. All you have to do is drop your pen.
It was something that was demanded of me. My editor, my news editor in the newsroom, thought if I don't pull down my skirt, I was not going to be put on air.
I am yet to come into contact with anybody asking me to sleep with him to go on TV. I will not sleep with any man for a position. I will sleep with a man I want to sleep with for the pleasure of it.
When governments come to power and they say that the women are not showing dynamism and the women, for me all that, forgive my Latin, this time of the day, all that is bullshit.
I practice public speaking in church. Okay. I practice service in church. I practice leadership in church. So those are things that's why the church is important in our lives.
And that's how you do it. It's
so
not buy Range Rover and do something in church.
And do what? Takes me right
in church.
When you mention Jesus, you don't have to say Jesus. You have to say Jesus.
But they say it's a man's world out there, isn't it? Unfortunately, I don't know why, because we seem to be doing all the work. They are the head and we are the neck. Excuse me, can you be a head without a neck?
No, please. And no, please.
Yeah.
Well, hey, ladies, let's continue to hold up the sky. Hello. What are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Late Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those socio-economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. Our personality profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma Pratt. Still, the only TV show with a hat.
Right, welcome back. You're still watching Diplomatic Affairs with me, Harriet Nartey. We are streaming live on Facebook, just so you know you don't have to sit by your television set to catch up with us. So you can do that via your devices, wherever you find yourself. Just locate us and send us your messages. I've seen some messages pouring in on our Facebook page, and I'm expecting more. So you can also watch us both on Facebook and on YouTube, and just be part of the conversation. My guest is the EU Ambassador to Ghana, Ichad Ramiandrasu Razali. Right, so before we went for that break, we were talking about climate change. So we've addressed the basic. For me, that's my concern, which I brought up, the burning of refuse, open burning of refuse. So let's move on to talk about vaccines. The president was out of the country in some European countries to meet with his counterparts, and top on the agenda was the production of vaccines on the African continent. So this is not just limited to COVID-19 vaccine. We are also looking at malaria and, of course, other diseases which might have been, Africa might have been affected with in the past. But this is the time for us to ride on the back of COVID-19 vaccine production and be able to equally draw solutions to some of these challenges ahead. What's your take on that? I understand the EU is providing some technical assistance in that regard.
Yes, correct. But before that, I just want to remind that the EU is one of the leading, if not the leading, vaccine provider worldwide, okay, COVID-19. So by mid-2022, this year, the EU would have provided 700 million vaccines worldwide, out of which 450 million vaccines would have been provided to Africa only, okay? First element. Second element, as you remember, Ghana was the first country worldwide who have benefited from the vaccines provided by COVAX, supported by the EU. This was in March last year. And as I tweeted, this is good to get vaccines. This is even better to produce them. So together with a handful of African countries, Ghana will be associated and supported by the European Union to host and to build a vaccine facility in order to produce vaccines needed in Ghana, but not only, because you don't create such facility for a 30 million market. You do that for a region, a continent, if not the rest of the world. So we are supporting the Ghanaian government, firstly the Food and Drug Administration, in order to have the plan ripe, the roadmap. We are partnering with the German government. There will be other partners as well, European partners, which will be at the table as well to make what we call a Team Europe offer to Ghana in order to create a facility which will enable Ghana to produce COVID-19 vaccines, and as you've mentioned, other type of vaccines as well, because hopefully COVID is not here to stay. Unfortunately, hopefully, but unfortunately, like climate change, pandemics are a global phenomenon, and the more it goes, the more the likelihood of other pandemics is on the rise. So this is an issue of preparedness as well, an issue of building capacity, not to be taken a bit off guard like during the COVID-19 outbreak. So this is something very, I would say, promising that we are partnering with Ghana. And I have to say, this was not on the book initially, but this is the result of talks that the president had in Europe, and this was making full sense. And we say, yes, we agree, this is what we want to do together. So this is an illustration that the priority that the European Union are working with Ghana are not priorities that are invented in Brussels. Their priority identifies with the government of Ghana, discussed with other stakeholders like the CSO, the academia, researcher, etc., in order to identify where we have something meaningful to conduct together, because this is part of our shared interest, and this is able to make a contribution and to make a difference in the life of Ghanaian people.
Right. I've had people who have expressed concern in this area that but for COVID-19, the world would not have paid attention to the production of malaria vaccine on the African continent because this is a pandemic. If it were an epidemic, would they have paid attention to this part of the world?
No, this is a very interesting debate. I have to say that I was pleased a few months ago that there were some breakthrough in terms of research on malaria potential vaccines, on research conducted in Ghana. So, history is history, but at least there are research conducted as well to address other diseases of world or continental magnitude. So there again, reinforcing these capacities in Africa, Ghana, we are speaking of Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, this will create as well, the basis, the scientific basis and technical basis as well to advance the research for such disease. So I think it's good news.
Well, this is a step in right direction for all of us, and I think finally the good thing is that we are here and we are ready to work together and also think about the future, and all of us collectively working together. Now let's talk about security. I'm sure you've been following the recent happenings in the sub-region, West Africa, and there seems to be a lot of insurgencies on this part of Africa. I know that I've been following the news and a few articles that I've laid my hand on, and I feel like this is the time for us to come together to focus. I've also had the opportunity to sit in a couple of meetings where the Minister for Foreign Affairs raised concerns that we need all our partners, international partners, to come together so we can resolve the emerging coups or the rampant coups on the African continent. What is the EU's role in getting this part of Africa to promote peace and security on this part of Africa?
There again, peace, stability, democracy, rule of law in West Africa is a common endeavor between the European Union and Ghana because it's a common interest. Okay? Since I arrived 1st of September, and this might address the first question on what I can bring on the table on a personal basis, I've been working on West Africa for a long time, and since day one, we have been supporting Ghana as chair of ECOWAS in its endeavor to support those values: stability, security, democracy, rule of law. The EU have been supportive of the ECOWAS, and beyond ECOWAS, we have been, and we are, supportive of Ghana as chair of ECOWAS. Illustration. I arrived 1st of September. The coup in Guinea-Conakry emerged in 7th or 8th of September, and we are already discussing with the government of Ghana what they think and what could be their plan to be submitted to ECOWAS. And the ECOWAS, I would say logically so, condemned the coup, and we have supported ECOWAS. Okay, it's not only an issue of condemning and supporting ECOWAS. When it comes to Mali, things were a bit more difficult because, as you remember, ECOWAS have adopted direct and individual sanctions against the members of the transitional government. We have supported ECOWAS, we have endorsed the declaration, we have condemned the coup, but on top of that, and this is something that I know the ministry was very interested in follow-up, the European Union, as indicated, has adopted, has translated these ECOWAS sanctions and has adopted sanctions targeted to 5 individuals on the list adopted by ECOWAS. So it's not only words, I would say. In diplomacy, there is no love, there are proofs of love. And this is proof of love, I would say. We are supportive at the political level, at the sanction level. We are exchanging, we are comparing notes. As you know, EU is heavily committed and engaged in West Africa and the Sahel at large. We have lessons to draw, we have notes to share with the main partners, and as we are currently discussing, we are available to support Ghanaians' endeavor in terms of coordination, in terms of supporting the capacity through the Accra initiative, so on and so forth. So it's not only an issue of being nice and saying that we're supporting you, there are concrete gestures and concrete policies that are following those declarations.
Action on the ground. Well, in your view, do you think the sanctions will cut it? Is that the best way to address the issue? What do you think? The sanctions imposed on these countries, you know, who have suffered from coup d'etats lately or recently on this part of Africa. Do you think sanctions are the best option to get countries set up or to deter people from, you know, taking more coups on this part of Africa?
No, I understand the question, but basically and this is ECOWAS's policy, it's not European Union's policy, it's ECOWAS's policy. One country or one faction takes over in not legitimate, not legal, not constitutional way, there have to be reactions, and then the head of state decide on those reactions, okay? So I'm not judging that, I'm just saying this is a normal step decided by the head of states of ECOWAS. We as a policy have a policy of supporting ECOWAS in that. We have to be fair and honest. If sanctions only would solve the issue, we would have solved a lot of issues.
Right.
But the issue, as you know, in Mali and in Sahel, is complex. It's what we say in the jargon, multidimensional. So sanctions is one part of the reactions, one part of the tools that we can have in order to try to support the countries going in, I would say, bring them back to constitutional order.
Right. Great. Okay then. So, is the EU able to provide some kind of recommendations to ECOWAS in terms of how to handle or go about some of these issues, though?
No, we are not doing recommendation. Okay. The first and foremost responsible are the countries themselves. So Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire. And then ECOWAS as an organization created by those countries in 1975, so it's quite ancient. And then we are here to support when we are told this is somewhere where you can support us, okay? As an example, just before the summit, the AU-EU summit, which took place yesterday, and the day before yesterday, there was another meeting of head of states of West African countries. President Akufo-Addo was part of that. It was co-chaired or co-organized by the European President of European Council, Monsieur Charles Michel. It was convened by President Macron. Several head of states of European member states were there as well. And they have agreed, they have shared their concern, and they have agreed to stay mobilized and to support West African priorities and West African policies in order to address instability, terrorism, so on and so forth in West Africa. So this is the way it works. Nobody says from EU, you have to do that. No, it's what do you believe we can do together to bring a solution on the table. It works fine, it doesn't work, we try something else, we try better, we try differently, we widen the scope
all hands on deck.
Yes.
All right, interesting. Now let's move away from security and talk about smart. These are my PowerPoints as you furnished us with when we met at your residence. You know, you talked about security and stability, health and vaccines. We've already discussed that. Let's talk briefly, let's talk about smart cities and digitalization. I find this to be very interesting.
This is a fascinating subject because, as you know, the rate of urbanization in Africa is very high. Okay, in few decades, the continent moved from a rural continent to a highly urbanized continent. So the challenges in terms of development, connectivity, transportation, education, health have migrated with the people to the cities. Okay, so we are supporting because once again this is what the Ghanaian government agreed where the EU should make a contribution, because we have some experience there, to support what we call smart and sustainable cities. What does that mean? It means that the cities are growing in Ghana, not only Accra, Tema, but Tamale as well, Kumasi, those secondary cities, and we will be engaging in order to find ways, solution, design to make this urbanization not anarchical, because if it's anarchical, you know, the transportation scheme, access to energy, even access to education, basic services is made too difficult.
Right.
But if you design the city in a different way, you know, mobility, waste production, waste management, access to water, so on and so forth, is more easy. And the digitalization part, which will make the process, I would say, more modernized.
Right.
That will put an edge to the transportation system. You know, these are simple things, not so simple, but simple things. You have to make the bus system working better to transport more people, but bus system has to be more reliable. So digitalization can give you an indication when is the next bus. So you know if you have to wait for 1 minute, 2 minutes, or half an hour.
Right.
That makes a difference, because if you have another solution at hand, you will take another solution if it's too long. If it's 1-2 minutes, you know, okay, I'm waiting, and I see the next bus after that will be in 10 minutes. Okay, maybe I will wait for the next one, you know, things like that. So this is a very trivial and simple example, but this is part of the smart cities, you know, public lighting. When does it work? When does it not work? When does it stop? So on and so forth. Digitalization can manage that, you know, in order to, for example, digitalization can tell us that there are works going on.
I know.
Yeah. So anyway, things like
so
that
it's
will
all
improve.
about, so this smart cities and digitalization, in simple terms, is modernization and urbanization.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
In simple terms. But
yes.
I'm not an engineer, and my colleagues engineer will tell me, oh boss, you are minimizing our work. And I know it's much more complex than that, but the idea, and I am a simple man, I think the idea is to make the life of the ordinary citizen easier.
Right.
In the end, this is what it is about.
Right. So my job
and
is...
I like this idea.
I mean, you like this idea.
I like
Thank
this
you
idea.
very much.
We have to work to make the life of our fellow citizens or co-citizens easier.
I agree. I agree with you. I would want us to talk about, we will deviate a little bit, but I would want us to talk about the incident in Apiati. Here, I mean, in the eastern, somewhere in the eastern region, which, you know, saw several people dead, injured as well, and they lost everything, as if there were no human activities, you know. So your office or the EU made some contributions to sort of like cushion the plight of these people and also comfort them. Let's talk about how much you gave out, and I am interested in how the money is going to be spent. Let's talk about monitoring and evaluation. How much are we talking about?
First of all, this was a terrible accident. I think 17 persons lost their lives, and several thousand of people were directly or indirectly affected by the explosion. And the European Union, as you know, is the largest humanitarian aid provider worldwide. And these are part of the event, unfortunate event, on which we try to mobilize ourselves because people are in need, and where they are, needs, we are trying to address them. We have recently mobilized 80,000 euros in order to support the work of international and local NGOs who are working to support the people who are still in need of shelters, in need of food, and who are in a situation of food insecurity because they cannot access their work, or their shops have been destroyed.
Human needs.
Yes, basic human needs. So this is what we have mobilized. We are partnering, if I'm not mistaken, with the International Red Cross and the Ghanaian Red Cross, and these will be the partners who will be serving the needs of these people who are still in the intermediary shelters and other facilities. In terms of monitoring and evaluation, there again, unfortunately, these processes are well framed because we have been doing humanitarian activity and aid for decades now. So the partners, they are in the end of the project telling us what have been covered with the what were the expenses and expenditures, and then we the people in charge of the monitoring and evaluation on our side are making what we call the final payments and things like that, based on the sound management of those monies. But I mean, once again, for us, the most important is to be able to react and mobilize in order to alleviate a bit the plight of these affected communities.
All right. Well, that's great. Again, it's a step in the right direction, and I commend you for coming on board to help take care of these people. We have a few minutes to wrap up. Yes, we have a few minutes to wrap up.
Already? It's so quick.
Yeah, so quick. Just because the conversation is very interesting and there are so many things to talk about. I believe we will do this again. But I have some questions coming in, some messages coming in, which I will read in a bit. I think 1 more minute. I would want your take on the political tension ongoing between Russia and Ukraine. Briefly, what's your take on that subject?
No, it's simple and complex at the same time. It's simple because Ukraine has already been faced with, a takeover from Crimea territory by Russia in the past, and the fear that Russia might provoke, an invasion or an aggression. So the EU and other international partners are conducting a dialogue together with Russia in order to create the conditions and to find a way to de-escalate the tension, because tension is made of the fact that there are 200,000 troops at the border of Ukraine, and this is not a driver for trust. So to make an euphemism, so what we do usually as a diplomat is to try to find ways to de-escalate the solution and to avoid a conflict. This is what the High Representative Mr. Joseph Borrell has done. This is what President Macron from France has done. This is the German Chancellor has done in order to create this channel of dialogue and de-escalation with Russia.
Okay then, so I have been prompted to wrap up, but I received so many messages, and someone says the EU should help Africa fight corruption. And someone is also commending you for the good job so far in the country.
Thank you.
Yes, and I have someone says Ichad Razali is just God sent to Ghana and Africa in general. I listened to the AU-EU summit last night and it was lit. So kudos to you once again. Like I said, we can't take all the messages. There is something we haven't discussed, but I believe another opportunity will present itself, which is cultural diplomacy. I know that's huge, so you are big on cultural diplomacy as well.
Oh, yes.
So we will find the opportunity to talk about that.
I hope so.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harriet.
Ramiandrasu Razali.
You get it right.
EU head to Ghana, or EU ambassador to Ghana, and he is the correspondent between the EU and Ghana. So he is working in the country, not just in the interest of the EU, but of course in the interest of Ghana as well. And we've just laid bare some of the new projects upcoming and some of the policies that they are together going to be working on with the government of the Republic of Ghana. So that is very interesting. Thank you so much for your time, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Harriet.
Even though you warned me that I shouldn't use Your Excellency. Well, thank you so much for watching today's episode of Diplomatic Affairs. I believe it's been very insightful, educative, and of course entertaining always when we come your way. My name is Harriet Nartey. I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Enjoy the rest of our programs.